Hello, everyone. So I'm making a quick screen recording to go over the notes number 6, Henry VIII. So the reason for this is basically because Henry VIII is a super duper short set of notes, which should have been included in our test on the Reformation and like sort of the rise of Protestantism and all that. But I left it off because I guess I forgot. Anywho, here's what's going on. Changes in the English Church. So there's religious reform that spreads throughout Europe. In 1534, King Henry VIII had Parliament formally separate from the Catholic Church and the Pope. So what he does is he wants to separate from the Catholics in Rome, and he basically wants to do this because he wants the church to grant him a divorce from his wife. But the church isn't really too keen on that, right? When you get married, sometimes they say, "Till death do you part," and they take it seriously. So he wants to divorce his wife, and the church isn't really interested. Now, King Henry VIII wants to divorce his wife Catherine because they had a daughter, and he needs a son to inherit his throne. So he asked the Pope to annul or cancel his marriage so he could marry a different woman named Anne Boleyn. The Pope says, "No, I don't think we're going to do that." And King Henry is like, "Well, whatever. I don't really care what you think." And he actually married 6 different women while trying to have a son. He did have one son who ends up dying pretty young, and he had several sons that were illegitimate, so they were born out of wedlock, so they did not have the right to inherit the throne. In 1534, that same year where he separates officially from the Catholic Church, you also had the Act of Supremacy in England, which made the king the head of the Anglican Church. Anglican basically means English, right? If you look at the root word Anglo, it means English. So if you talk about the Anglo-Saxons, you're talking about people from England. So what you have going on is the king is now the head of the Anglican Church, and he can do pretty much whatever he wants. So anyone who opposes King Henry VIII was often executed, and the king got to decide which way the church sort of changed and adapted. So after King Henry VIII died, the Church of England would become much more Protestant in its views when his son Edward VI took over. If you look at his family tree, you can see that he married several different women, with his third child there, Edward VI, eventually ruling. But, spoilers, if you look at the years he was born and the years he died, it is not a long life for him. He only lives to be about 16. So, what ends up happening is there are 2 daughters left, Mary and Elizabeth, who will fight for power. You may have heard of Mary. She's often referred to as Bloody Mary. So she was the daughter of Henry VIII. And she's known as Bloody Mary because she once tried to restore England to its Roman Catholic roots by having 300 Protestants burned at the stake. So she was not well liked by a lot of the people in England. From 1553 to 1558, she ruled in England, and for the most part, people did not like her. Mary fought against her stepsister, Elizabeth, and planned to challenge her for the throne. Unfortunately for Mary, her plot was discovered. She was thrown in prison, and there she was approached by people who offered to set up an assassination attempt against Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thanks to cryptology, was able to crack the code that Mary was writing to her co-conspirators in, and she was executed afterwards for conspiracy to commit murder against the Queen. So there you can see Mary is being executed, and on the left, her head is being shown to the public after she was killed. So that's essentially the story of King Henry VIII. And what this does, what the impact of it is really that suddenly you start to see England become a very Protestant nation, and eventually, when the English move over to the United States, Protestantism will come with them. So there you go. Like I said, super short set of notes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks. Bye.